Hello viewers, today we have a topic on religious intolerance and the rise of religious extremism. Perspectives on Asia. Before going to watch this lecture, please subscribe to the channel for more updates and videos. Freedom of religion is guaranteed by Article 1.8 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Notwithstanding, the Asian Legal Resource Center concurs with a special report that the situation with regard to intolerance and discrimination based on religion or belief is alarming. In the last year, Asia has witnessed a marked increase in the level of religious intolerance and overt forms of disrespect and aggression. Violations of the right to freedom of belief are closely associated with violations of the economic, social, and cultural rights of minorities and marginalized communities. Unequal distribution of wealth, unequal access to limited resources, loss of identity, loss of authority among the traditional leadership of many minority groups, and other trends linked to globalization have all exacerbated intolerance and contributed to the growth of extremism. South Asian states are directly linked towards religious extremism because these states have failed to take remedial action to control extremist operations and prosecute criminal activities. In spite of calls that states and the international community must condemn religious extremism unequivocally and combat it relentlessly in order to preserve the human right to peace. In this case, we have a summary of particular conditions in certain states. Myanmar. Although the government of the Union of Myanmar claims to safeguard religious freedom, indications are otherwise, while a predominantly Buddhist country. There are also large Christian and Muslim communities in Myanmar. Notwithstanding, the government emphasizes Buddhist ceremony in its performance of routine state functions. In surveying it or other religious groups and sects, the most tragic outcome of this failure is that it fuels rather than appeases the further development of belligerent attitudes and actions among extremist factions. Religious fundamentalism is creeping subtly into areas that have hitherto remained largely secular. Increasingly, Asian political parties are forming on religious lines, increasing the potential for intolerance and sectarianism. A summary of particular conditions in certain states is follows. Buddhist standards as the norm for state institutions. Students in schools are thus obliged to participate in Buddhist ritual irrespective of their religious beliefs. Office holders in state agencies are almost without exception Buddhist. The Asian Legal Resource Center is greatly concerned by recent report of religious rights between Buddhist and Muslims communities in central Myanmar. Clashes have occurred throughout most of 2001 and are known to have been particularly severe in October when events in the town of Pigu and others are understood to have left around 100 people killed, 100 injured, and caused considerable damage to property. The long-term maltreatment of Rohingya Muslims in the west of Myanmar is also a matter of great concern. Independent agencies have reported on the tragic plight of these Rohingyans who are discriminated against and denied equal rights with others on the specious grounds that they are illegal immigrants since the exodus of hundreds of thousands into Bangladesh during the early and mid 1990s. Although Most were subsequently repatriated under dubious circumstances. Reports of their maltreatment on the basis of religion and descent have continued. These reports cite repeated and systematic instances of arbitrary executions and arrest, torture, forced relocation, excessive and arbitrary taxation, forced conversion, travel restrictions, and destruction of mosques. Another example from Indonesia, sectarian conflict between Christians and Muslims has raged on in Poso, Sulawesi since late 1999. Some 2,000 people have died as a result, not to mention the damage to property. Current reports speak of a large number of persons being displaced after in October this year perhaps thousands of armed militants from other provinces arrived. Hence, there have been reports that the latest situation has been exacerbated by infiltration from certain extreme groups originating from outside the area, including the Java-based Muslim group, Laksa Jihad. A closer examination of so-called religious tensions and conflicts in Indonesia reveals a remarkably common pattern, hidden behind the veil of complexities and ambiguities. Invariably, there emerges the indelible hand of agents or parties with vested interest in provoking conflict. These range from efforts to destabilize the existing political power structure to seeking economic advantage or simply finding scapegoats for economic and social ills. The state has failed lamentably to arrest the mounting violence and hatred on either side of the religious divide. Accusations of law enforcement authorities' complicity have not been investigated. India is experiencing frightening growth in religious extremism. What is of great concern is the impunity with which a number of extreme Hindu fundamentalist groups function in the society. In sharp contrast with what is stated in the Constitution of India that it is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Figures provided to the minorities commissioned by various state police departments indicate that the number of officially recorded attacks on Christians institutions rose sharply from 27 in 1997 to 86 in the following year. During the first 3 months of 2001, 37 incidents were reported during 1997 and 1998. 5 individuals died on account of such incidents. The number of fatalities went up to 12 and 13. Respectively, in the next 2 years, the number of those injured rose from 45 in 1998 to 91 and 132 in the next 2 years. By way of an example, in one attack, around 100 Hindu fundamentalists are reported to have destroyed the Philadelphia church in that village, Madhya Pradesh. Samson, a Christian, a national executive member of the All India Christian Council, wrote a letter to the President of India after the incident in which he alleged that police authorities had refused to register a complaint against the attackers. He claims that Pastor Bachubai Vikabai Boria, who works with about 150 Christian families of the village, approached the police, but they instead supported the Hindu attackers. Indeed, the current penalties against religious intolerance in India are neither effective nor properly enacted. Pakistan is also one of the most vulnerable countries in South Asia because there is evidence of discrimination against religious minorities. Those worst affected are the Ahmadis, low-caste Hindus, and Christians. The present political leadership, lacking a mandate from the people, is obviously reluctant to take any decisive measures that would hurt the feelings of the majority and is simply allowing the rights of minorities to be eroded. In the political system, religious preferences is used as the basis for the present separate electorate system, whereby Christians are compelled to vote for 4 special Christian representatives. Every request to overturn this law and allow minorities to vote for national candidates has been rejected. Further, aggravating minority feelings that they are treated as second-class citizens and are discriminated against on the basis of religion. Since no attention has been drawn to this situation by the state, we are compelled to bring it to the attention of the Commission.